Christopher Columbus was born in 1451 during the Renaissance era in Italy to a humble family. In 1470, he began his life at sea as a pirate at the age of 13. He learned how to sail wooden ships with the wind currents and ocean currents. He was also taught how to navigate using only the sun and stars. During much of the exploration era, Columbus put this to the test and even tried to find a shorter way to China and India. The competition, Portugal, had tried going south around Africa, but it was a very long trip.
Rather than going east like the others, he wanted to go west across the Atlantic Ocean. In 1492, after asking several people and rulers to sponsor his trip to the Indies that would later become his most famous voyage, King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella of Spain agreed because they felt that they could financially compete with the Portuguese and could become well known. They provide money and the caravels, the Niña, the Pinta, the Santa Maria.
Santa Maria was the largest of the three ships. He left Spain in August of that same year with about 90 men including his son, 40 on the Santa Maria, 26 on the Pinta, and 24 on the Niña. Christopher and his son rode on the Santa Maria. After a few days, the Pinta was damaged and had to make a stop, and then the trip continued on September 8, 1492. The crew had lost faith in Columbus and had thought that he was lost and were never going to get anywhere, but on October 12th, the crew in the Pinta spotted land.
They landed on the Weltins Island in the Bahamas, where Indians think they were in India and China. Presently, they saw naked people, they saw trees very green and much water and fruits of diverse kinds. Where a witness, the Admiral Columbus say, I that winning from great friendship to the Indians that were already there. Said to he named them Indians because he thought he had landed in India. Columbus tried to convert them to Christianity and teach them the Spanish language. The Native Americans were impressed with the visitor until they claimed the land Spanish.
16 days later, they reached Cuba completely convinced that it was Japan. Along their trips on Christmas Day, 1492, the Santa Maria hit a reef and shipwrecked. Few days later, Christopher established the first Spanish settlement in the Dominican Republic. They finally began their journey back home on January 16th with about 20 kidnapped Native Americans, but leaving 40 of his men behind, and arrived on March 5th with only 8 captives left. His round trip lasted about 224 days.
They told the king and queen everything and gave lots of recognition and land to Spain. I discovered many islands inhabited by numerous people. I took possessions of all of them for our most fortunate king by making public proclamation and unfurling his standard, no one making any resistance, Columbus wrote on his letter to the king and queen. He was even made admiral of the seven seas and viceroy of the Indies. His discoveries created many controversies, and many countries began their own exploration to the New World. Even he himself made 3 more voyages back.
The first graph is about the men that aboard Columbus ships. First of all, the men that aboard the Niña were 24. Then, the men who aboard the Pinta were 26. And last but not least, 40 men were the ones that aboard the Santa Maria. The second graph talks about Christopher Columbus' voyage duration. The first voyage was of only 1 year. The second voyage was of 3 years. The third voyage was of only 2 years, and the fourth voyage had a duration of 4 years. The third graph is about the comparison of shape of Columbus ships. The Santa Maria was the largest in length and width, and the Niña was the smallest, as we can see. The fourth graph is about how big were the land surfaces of the lands where Christopher Columbus landed during his explorations. The first one is the Espinosa, with the largest land surface. then Cuba, and last but not least, San Salvador. The last chart is about the number of ships in the expeditions of Christopher. The first expedition, only 3 ships left. In the second expedition, 17 ships left. In the third expedition, 6 ships left. And in the fourth expedition, only 4 ships left to the exploration.